Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Realm of Vasten. I say welcome back because I have toured this world before. I am joined by the wonderful Fixxit, who's over there. Hi, Fixxit.
Hey, Wells, I'm way over here. Come join me. How's it going?
I wandered, and then, we got separated. But anyway...
It's easy to get lost in this world. That is one thing that's for certain.
It is. So I toured the Realm of Vasten, I don't know, probably 6 months ago? Maybe a little more?
Yeah, it was right at the end of last season. So yeah, I think it was just a little bit over 6 months ago. And here we are at the end of the next season, so here we are again.
Yeah, so there was a period where, for whatever reason, I needed to go on a trip or something. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but for whatever reason, I had to record a whole bunch of content in a very short amount of time. And basically, I did a whole bunch of different world tours. And one of them was this world, the Realm of Vasten, and it was by far the one that people were most impressed with and that kind of blew everybody away, myself included. So Fixxit said, hey, by the way, we're finishing up a season of the Realm of Vasten, and I was wondering if you wanted to come and take a look at it again. So, of course, absolutely. I am super excited because, man, this place blows my mind. It's absolutely insane. But for those of you who did not see the first tour, and by the way, I'll put a link to the previous tour in the description. And if I remember, I'll link it in the iCards. Because we're not going to look at all the stuff that we looked at last time. Right. We're going to focus on the new stuff. But if you haven't seen those videos, I highly encourage you to watch them because holy cow, the stuff that you guys do here is nuts. But anyway, for the people who didn't see the tour, who have no idea what this Realm of Vasten thing is that I keep going on about, why don't you give them a brief introduction, Fixxit? What is the Realm of Vasten and why should people care?
Okay, well, yeah, sure. Well, the Realm of Vasten it's a collaborative SMP, so it's all survival with a twist. We do a couple things in creative, like command block shenanigans and stuff like that. And I try to be really transparent of what we do in creative. It's just that kind of stuff, some structure block stuff, but everything else is in survival. But it's all community based. We call them Kingdom Craft rules, named after your former server, which is where I think a lot of us kind of came into this kind of thing. A lot of people who play here know of Kingdom Craft. The series, how long ago was that? Was that about 4 years ago?
Oh man,
maybe even more.
Yeah, I think it was about 4 because it was before I joined Hermitcraft, and I joined Hermitcraft in season 4. So yeah, it was about 4 years ago.
Wow, the time is blowing by.
Yeah, three, 4 years. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
It was so influential on me because I was like, I have 2 kids and a full-time job and all that stuff, and I want to build huge, spanning, giant kingdoms. And there's some reality, there's some reality of that. So I thought, well, why don't I just get my friends and we'll just use Kingdom Craft rules, where that means all shared resources. So the only things you own are like your tools and your ender chest or whatever. But everything else, if you need spruce and you see spruce in chest, you can just use it, and then you just trust everyone to be giving and replace stuff as it is needed. And we had tremendous success with that. Everyone here it's by, the handpicked people who are here. So everyone has a really great attitude. And it's just been such a good experience, good friends, and as you can see around here, just amazing builders. Yeah, this place, man. Every time I come here, I'm like, ooh. You may not know this, but every now and again, I'll pop on the server when no one's online and just kind of look around. I didn't know that.
Yeah, just every once in a while, I'll just kind of slide my way into the server and be like, I'm just going to peek around a little bit.
It's funny because I do the same thing, but with like Arctic Craft and with Westeros Craft, although I haven't been in Westeros. But, that is so nice to be able to just log in and just be inspired by what other people are doing and stuff. I think that's the fantastic thing. The airship up there is actually, we're not going to look at Port Bray yet. We showed this last tour, but there are a couple new things. But that airship up there is brand new. Truth built that. Idea being, so I leave stuff everywhere. I am the worst. I am the all-time worst ever at leaving stuff. And all my builds have like 8 double chests just full of crap that I never bothered to get. So Truth went around and collected all of it up and brought it to places. And I thought, well, what if you die and your bed is 20,000 blocks away? So he's going to make this airship and put supply drops, because there's a lore bit to the story. This world is at war with the Nether, and the whole world is at war. So he's gonna have some like military supply drops in hot air balloons that if you die and you're somewhere, you can go up into that balloon and you can get like ender pearls and some food and all that kind of stuff. So
very cool. Yeah,
that's the cool thing. Those are going to be appearing all over all the kingdoms of the world. We're going to have ships like that or balloons and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's quite the build. That's beautiful. And then
It really is
and
nice.
like I know you said you do some things in creative mode. Like that's not a creative mode build.
Oh no.
Like the builds themselves are not creative mode. There's like, if I remember correctly, it's like you use structure blocks to copy like some trees.
Yeah, that's it. That's
and
the
that's
only thing.
basically it. And like the resources are all gathered in survival. The builds are all done in survival. Like,
oh yeah,
this is a survival world.
The only thing that are creative is we do structure blocks and we copy custom trees. So we make the custom trees in one kingdom called Agery, and then after you make it once all legit in survival, then you can plant it kind of wherever you want. Because we want to do giant forests that are, real forest sized, and that's just not a necessarily realistic thing for a lot of us to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, let's continue onwards and go look at stuff.
Well, let's come out here into the bay. Behind you, there is an ice boat that you can see here, and this is where we built this kingdom. This kingdom is called Stalea. I had never really built in ice before, and I thought, you know what, let's do it. So this is how we fast travel too. So things are really far away in the world, and there are roads connected to everything, but there's also some realistic parts of traveling. So we have fast travel. So if you click that button, then you are going to go to an exact copy of this boat, but in Stalea.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was like mind blown when I was here the first time. That's such a cool concept for getting around a world, because I think I remember you telling me that this world is like, it's all large biomes, right?
It is, yeah, and it is really far. Man, it is far. Yeah.
All right, here we go. I found you.
So, oh man, so where to even start? So we decided to start here with the the whole story is that there's an ice tree, a frost tree in the center of the city, and that's where the Arbor Druids who moved here and became Frost Druids, that's where they get their sort of power. So we started with where the tree is going to be, which is directly over an end portal, and built all out from there. So everything we see, we're going to kind of probably go in like a bit of a spiral shape and just see everything. And I'll try to give credit to the builders as much as I can remember. And if you're watching the video and I credit the wrong person, I'm really sorry. There's a lot of buildings here. This building was done by Nini, who's just a fantastic builder. So ship, he did something that I'd never seen anyone do before. He hung a boat from the ceiling. You ever seen this before? Like a boat being worked on?
Oh, that's really cool.
I just thought that was really tricky and just a really interesting little way to do it.
Super simple too. Just a couple of stairs and some trapdoors.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I'm totally going to steal that at some point.
I always rave about that. I love that little bit.
That's such a cool little detail. I love it.
Oh, we should say too, right off the top, the texture pack that we're using is built by Jermsy Boy. It's a runoff of Little Taste of Germ called A Little Taste of Vasten.
Yeah, of course. So Jermsy Boy, for those of you who are familiar with Kingdoms, Jermsy Boy recently overhauled my Kingdoms texture pack in kind of collaboration with me, I guess you would say. He's also responsible for the texture pack we're looking at right now, A Little Taste of Vasten. He's done his own texture pack, and he also had a lot to do with BWO's texture pack. I don't think he actually worked on BWO's texture pack, but he had a lot of like texture pack videos that BWO followed to like figure out how to make a texture pack and stuff like that. I'm not sure exactly how involved he was with that, or if he was even involved with it directly. But anyway, he's a fantastic texture pack artist, just an amazing guy, and a great builder on top of that. Yeah. So
he's a builder here as well too.
Yeah, and he works here as well. So I'll put a link to the texture pack that we're using right now. I'll have a link for that in the description if you want to use this texture pack for yourself. I'm sure that's okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, use it. It's great.
But it's gorgeous. There's a lot of really cool stuff here. And I love that it's like, it's not vanilla, but it's not super, super far from vanilla either. Like it's like a improved vanilla, if you will.
That's how I kind of feel. And we just got rid of some of the blocks that are unusable in a medieval sort of thing, like concrete, and we made them into shingles and things like that. I believe that's kind of similar to what you did.
Yeah, that's what it had him do for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, when are you going to use a really, really bright teal color or something in this setting? Probably not so often. So, but you can use, like, for example, like these red shingles. You can use those a lot. You know, those are really nice. So,
yeah, exactly.
This inn was made by GrumpyOwlGaming, and he had a whole big storyline about it, how it was built in segments, and you can kind of see how different parts of it were built in different times.
Oh yeah.
I really, every time you look at this, you see kind of a different part of it. It's just an interesting build.
Yeah, it's cool. You got like little chunks of it, and it looks like they kind of added on. You know, they're like, oh well, I guess we need to make the inn bigger.
Yeah, or even different colors of wood.
Renovate.
Too, even. Yeah, exactly.
Renovate.
Exactly right.
Add more. We need to fit a little more space, and they just kept adding onto it and adding onto it. Yeah, that's a really cool build.
Pixel Brew, who I think you saw his world as well, right?
Yep.
He did some of these houses too, and I know he did these two over here, and I think maybe this one, maybe there's some collaboration stuff going on, but he's just a fantastic builder and has a great series called Brew and Build on his channel.
Yep. Yeah, I remember touring his world when I did that huge batch of tours, and his was very good as well. I mean, all of them were great. Like, let's be honest, but yeah.
All right. Well, brace yourself for this, because this might be my favorite part in the entire world. This is built by the great Krittleskittlez, who has just started a YouTube channel. He kind of got grandfathered in as one of the only non-YouTubers that plays here. He is an absolute master builder. And look at the angles of these buildings and just this entire area. I want to live here. I just love this part so much.
I'm just taking it all in. Yeah. I see what you mean. All the different perspectives as you kind of like wander through, and you turn a corner and it opens up. Just like the use of different like lines of sight. Yes. I guess you would say, and just like the way that things kind of flow together and open and close, and like, yeah, this is great.
He's really good, really talented, just a super nice dude, and elevation changes, just things I don't think of. Like, I wish I thought of elevate. Like, I wish I thought of that. Like digging down and putting a little court. I just would never think of that. But that's it's so good.
Yeah, it is. I love it. It's and that's something I'm guilty of too. Like, I don't think of elevation nearly as much as I should. But yeah, this is great, and I love that. Like, you got a lot of obviously a lot of browns and grays because medieval Minecraft, but then you pop down and there's the flowers for a little like pop of color, and you got like the blue wood siding over here. It's like little pop of color here, little pop of color there, just like little highlights to kind of break it up and make it not so like mono-colored,
Yeah, he's not afraid of color. I sometimes get a little scared of color, or scared of using too many different textures in a build. I find that I tend to sort of pick 5 or 6 blocks and limit myself to that, and he's just not. It just pays off. It's really so good.
Like, it's a fine line, because if you go too overboard with it, then it just looks like someone vomited blocks out and
that's true.
And suddenly there was a build, But at the same time, like, if you stick to too many of the same textures, then things start to kind of look, a little monotone, a little monotonous, and it gets kind of stale. So it's a fine line to walk, and it's kind of hard to do sometimes.
It's true. It's a very artistic eye. It's funny when you describe Minecraft to people who don't play. It's like, yeah, so are there zombies? Like, well, yeah, there are zombies, but that doesn't matter. It's not the art. Like, yes, there are zombies and Endermen and skeletons, but that's just like, that's an inconvenience. Really, it's about the 3-dimensional art. That makes the whole game so interesting.
Yep, absolutely.
One of our newest members just built this like yesterday. This is his name's Dom Retana, and he built a Redstone Bank. They don't even allow me behind the counter, to be honest, Wells, because if I look at it too hard, I'll break it. But yeah, you can trade in like he has a test trade right now. It's 5 diorite for 1 white wool, and we're gonna change that. There's gonna be 1 bank per kingdom that does 1 specific trade. So like maybe 10 emeralds for 1 diamond or something like that. We'll have to work out exactly the values to make it fair. But yeah, there's an outreach of the banking clan, and one of my things. We have 40 kingdoms in this world, just about close to 40 different kingdoms. Some are huge, some are not so big. I want to make people go to the old kingdoms, and I do everything I can to make them go there. So I told Dom that, yeah, let's do the banking thing, but only 1 trade per kingdom. So if you want diamonds, you might have to go to a kingdom that we did 3 years ago. And I like that idea of making them go there.
Yeah.
So a couple little things to show you. This is the yurt. This is the very first build. This is just our storage. There's not a lot to see here, but we started with pretty humble beginnings, as we didn't do a restart. Like, we didn't throw away our tools and stuff this time, but we did start in a brand new area with basically no materials, essentially, and stuff like that. So there's like the usual just rows of chests and mining and all that kind of stuff that you would do in a starter base. But we do have one player sleep and I guess like the usual SMP sort of things that most people seem to have these days.
Sure.
And you'll notice these ice spikes. There's some to that, and probably the tree has rendered in for you up there in the center.
Yep.
That's being built still by Joel Duggan from the Spawn Chunks.
Yeah, I know Joel.
So Joel's been working on this tree. Joel's like an actual like artist, like a trained professional artist. And so he sees things in such a unique, interesting way to get the shape. And I'm going to butcher this description.
Hold up for a minute. I just got to say, walking through this gate, like that. Oh man, that I love how you walk through the gate.
Yeah.
And then you've got like a little, you'd almost call it like a courtyard, where the ground, the terrain kind of goes up on either side, and like, but you've got this nice perspective. Like, okay, I'm sorry, I got.
Well, it's funny that you say that. You point out a perfect thing, because you're talking about artists. Two of the artists that we have here, Jermsy Boy built these houses and this courtyard and stuff, and Joel's building the tree behind it. And they see things differently than I do, as not being a trained artist. If you spin around this tree 360 degrees, there's always a bend. The way Joel did the tree, I never in a million years would have thought of that. So it's never straight. Like, how if you got the way I would build it, I would just build a bed one way, and if you're looking at it straight on, it wouldn't be as interesting. And so it's still being worked on. It's not even textured and stuff, but it's going to be an ongoing project into the next season.
Cool. Yeah, and
as well as the castle that goes around it.
Yeah, and I can see, with the shapes kind of starting to take shape, for lack of a better term. I can see kind of where it's gonna end up, and it's very cool, very fantasy.
It's gonna be. It goes the whole way to build height, so it's gonna have a huge ice, like all the different ice and some glass canopy of leaves and things like that, and it's just a huge project, and so it's gonna take a long time. But are you running Optifine right now, by the way?
I am not, no.
So if you were, you would see Germ has biome-specific things. Optifine, it doesn't run worldwide quite yet. We're still on pre-releases at the time we're recording this. But there would be blue leaves. All the birch leaves are blue in ice biomes here. So all these yellow trees are blue, and man, they look spectacular.
Cool.
Just pretend.
Yeah, use my imagination.
We'll edit in post.
No, I won't. Let's be honest. I'm lazy when it comes to editing. I'm not going to edit leaves into be blue.
I know something about being lazy while editing. This is a Church of the End. The Church of the End, that's one of our 3 religions, and this is how you would go to the end. We did a different plunge, I think, on our last tour to the Church of the End, so we don't need to do it necessarily today. But you would just go to the front and you press a button and you fall, and then you're teleported to the End Temple. That's the really big giant cathedral thing that we saw last time.
I remember.
And that's, you can enter the end. There's an end portal, so you take another fall, and that's how you get to the end. So every city has a Church of the End. It's a nice way to go repair your tools, basically.
Yep. Yeah, and I remember the Church of the End was amazing. I mean, and this build for that matter too. Like, just all the little details and colors and shapes and lines and like, it's fantastic stuff. I think I remember saying last time that like a lot of the stuff that you guys do here looks like the stuff that like JeraCraft does, except he does everything in creative with World Edit and Voxel Sniper and all the the third-party tools and stuff, and it still takes him a week or more to make a build. So like the fact that you guys are doing it in survival is nuts. And of course that's not to take anything away from like JeraCraft, because like his builds are incredible, but like these are also incredible and also done in survival on top of that.
Yeah, I'm a big. I've tried doing creative stuff, and it seems great in the beginning, and then inevitably I just drift right back to survival. There's something about it that it just gets me. But I think there's you can be creative on either side of it.
Oh, absolutely.
There's necessarily one that's better or not. This is called an Explorers Guild. We have a bunch of guilds here. We talked about this I think last time too. Some guilds actually give you like player perks. And we'll get to that when we go around the bend. But this one doesn't necessarily. This is basically our map room. Now, we had a hiccup in 1.14.1, if you can guess what happened. when all the item frames disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we lost our map. So unfortunately, our map room is just a empty glowstone floor up there at the top now. But, again, we'll edit in the map in a post. Oh, it disappeared again. That's weird. There was an arrow up here. That's an artifact anyway. But yeah, this was a fun build. And the idea is that they always use all the trees here to show off that they've been all over the world. So they use every different tree type. That's kind of the bit of the Explorer's Guild, you know?
Gotcha.
Let me see. If we just go down here, let's start with, let's start with this little area. I think this area is there's some really nice builds here.
Hold on. I lost you. I'm just going to TP to you.
Yeah, and you know we're opt now just for tour purposes, but generally in real life we're not. So just so people out there know.
Yeah.
So this is a house I did. This was the one that I did later in the season, and I was faced with two amazing builders here. Mythical Sausage, the great and wonderful and awesome Mythical Sausage built this house here, and then Ninny built that house there, and I was like, crap, I wouldn't put a house here, but I don't want to be like wildly different. So I tried to kind of mimic their styles. Sausage is such a talented builder. It's just really an amazing dude.
Oh, I love this.
Do you know him at all?
I love this dormer. This little dormer window right here.
Oh yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I love the way that looks. That's fantastic. Anyway,
so yeah,
this is the problem with doing a tour of this world with someone like me, because like, you know, you'll be like, oh, and this is what happened, and this is the build, and I'm just like, ooh, look at this shiny thing, you know?
I totally understand. Like, I do the exact same thing. Yeah, I totally get that completely. Yeah, I'll get obsessed with like the smallest little detail just because I want to steal it. Especially whenever I'm seeing.
Yeah, or I'll just see something, I'll be like, oh, that's so cool, you know?
Yeah. So we came to the conclusion. Well, let me show you these first. So this, let's see, this is actually a sugarcane farm. All of our farms that we have are all they're all in buildings, you know, like we don't want to have like a floating, you know, island or something like that.
Sure.
It's funny, there's a floating island just over there, but we don't want to have a floating island that's like a platform. We want to have like it disguised. So this is like what a sugarcane farm looks like in Vasten.
Sure. Yep.
And this was built by Caluss, who is a fairly new Minecraft player, and just makes me feel bad. Like he just started Minecraft here fairly recently, and he builds like this. It's just so good.
Yeah.
He's a real talent. Everyone on here, I think everyone but maybe one is either YouTube or Twitch streamer. So you can watch all these different people, all their different perspectives. Caluss and I planted these big fields. We were like, what do people eat who live in a place like this? You know, so I did some Googling, and turns out there's a thing called bearberries. I had never heard of them, but they kind of look like this a little bit, or, you know, as much Minecraft as we can sort of make it work. It's like a ground covering of leaves. So we thought, well, let's make bearberry fields, because wheat fields would look weird.
Yeah.
Thought, you know? Yeah,
wheat fields would look weird in a winter area for sure.
Yeah, so, but these bearberries, we felt like they look pretty good. And there's some here who haven't been harvested, because you'll see the nether wart, and that's kind of the idea behind it. And also, as a builder, it's a nice way to frame the city.
Yeah.
You ever find ending a city is hard?
Yes.
Like, where do you stop building?
The wall.
Well, exactly. If you have a wall, but if you don't have a wall, then
that's my solution. Is like every city from now on has a wall.
Yeah, that's true. And we're gonna have a wall in the next kingdom coming up here, but I find it to be very challenging. And the bearberry fields and these ice spikes have been a really nice help for that, for sure. Check out this little part of the town. Caluss built this, and this whole section of he's really good. All interiors on his build, not mine. On Caluss's builds, yeah, they're just really little. We thought, well, all the houses we have so far are like mansions. You know? Yep. That's not realistic. People like not everyone in the city lives in a mansion, so we wanted to build some smaller houses. And man, I just mentioned it one time, and then I log on a day later, and Caluss built all this. So
wow,
it's really good. Yeah.
Going to town on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like. Yeah. Okay, I see. So you got a little butcher shop over here as well. Very cool. Yeah, there's just so many little details and stuff. And like I'm terrible when it comes to interiors as well. Like I'd say like 5% of my builds end up with an interior.
Yeah, I can identify with that 5% number pretty much exactly. Yeah. I just don't find them interesting. Maybe, who knows, maybe 115 will be the interior update. Give us some chairs and some benches, and I'll be all over.
And actually that reminds me, beds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brilliant idea. That's one that I had Jermsy Boy implement into my own texture pack, as well as the ability to use, you know, basically have a couple of beds that are like benches or like coffee tables and stuff like that, because it's just a nice little detail that totally fits. And like realistically, in a medieval sort of like building focused world, do you really need a bed of every color? No.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I think we have this, and I think we have stone benches. Which, do you have that? I think you have those.
I do. I have one that's stone, one that's wood, and then one that's like a thatch.
Right. So this floating island was a really, really fun build. So I did this. This is one of the patron builds that I did. This is another one of our religions, and this is for the Order of Man, which is kind of like an anti-religion religion. Like they kind of believe man is the answer to all their problems. It's like they're all about learning and knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So they live in libraries, and I actually did an interior. So I have to show this so people see the one interior that I did this season. But it's done.
It is.
There's one. But yeah, I thought this was a really, really, really fun build. I had never done anything like this before, ever. Certainly not in survival. And yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, this is very, very impressive. It's a very, very good build. I swore I would like basically never build something in the sky. Mm-hmm. Unless they ever implement like creative flight into survival, which I can't imagine they ever will.
Yeah, right.
But I just was like, I'm never going to do this because I would lose my mind.
I gotta tell you, for a one-time thing, it wasn't so bad. And there's actually a way up. This ice spike here is actually hollow, so you can actually walk up it. It was shockingly not that bad. After you got the island started, then I only fell to my death like 4 or 5 times. It wasn't that terrible. I mean, that sounds terrible when I say it like that, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I hoped. But if I did a whole kingdom of floating islands, yeah, I'd be.
Yeah, it's not even like the falling to my death thing. It's the like individually terraforming the underside and like all the scaffolding and like it's so tedious to do that type of terraforming to basically just build an island out of thin air that actually looks good is the big thing. It and then that's large enough that it looks good. Like that's where I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think I'll do another one for a very long. But I did one. I'm happy that I did one.
Yeah.
There's a little igloo city over here. I don't want to skip it. That Oblivioos did when he first joined. We thought, well, what about the native people who lived here before the Frost Druids came? Maybe they still like maintain their ways and stuff. So he did this, and I thought it was, it's something I never would have done ever. But that's one thing I love about playing on a multiplayer server is that people do things that you wouldn't have done necessarily,
Yep.
And I think it's cool. It's kind of like a preserve of that. Like, no, we're not moving into your houses. We're staying here in our igloos. I that was cool.
Yeah.
If we go over here, there's a couple more houses. I'm chomping at the bit to show you. There's one thing that's underground, but I'm gonna wait to show you. This is a house built by Psiloncraft here. That just turned out really nice.
Yep.
And I built this house. I really, I'd been working, when I built this house here, I had been working really hard on odd shaped houses, like almost random footprints, and then just working out how the roofs would work on that. And I really got addicted. Like, I think this might be one of the first ones I did. And then every one I did after that was essentially like something like this. And now I struggle to build more of a rectangular house now because I this is how I see things now, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and it's like honestly like the single biggest thing that people can do to make their houses and stuff look better is changing the shape of the footprint and then like figuring out a way to make it work.
Exactly.
Because like that's where you really get things that look unique and visually interesting versus that's not to say that like you can't build a rectangular house that looks good, but like when you get into these kind of weird shapes where you've got like random curves, little bits kind of sticking out here and like things don't line up properly, and like that's where you start to get into really interesting stuff. But then it also becomes kind of like a puzzle because you're trying to figure out like how in the world do I make the roof work?
Yeah, it's true. And it's like there's a lot of time that you sit just looking at your screen trying to figure out in your head how that's going to work. But you just keep building up, generally. Just keep building up until you find a roof line that works.
Yep, exactly.
But that's been a really fun, that's sort of been my season goal, was to learn how to build like that better. And it's been a fun thing to do. This house right here was built by WhiteKnightSTU. I call them Stu, so I have to catch myself. It was started by Klautos. Klautos did a crypt, and we're gonna get there in a second. And it is huge. And he was like, I don't have time to finish this because we had to put a cap on this season. Like,
sure,
how do you end? How do you end a city? How are you like, I'm done? You're never done in Minecraft,
Yep.
But I've sort of found that like 5 to 6 months is kind of the right time to keep everyone really motivated and inspired before we move on. So we had to sort of put a pin in. It's like, okay, guys, June 1st. That's it. June 1st, we got to move on. So finish as much as you can, and then that's just it. And we're just gonna start a new kingdom. And so we sort of rushed a little bit the last couple weeks to kind of finish some things. But I think we got to a good point, and we have so many players now coming on this season that I think it's really helped.
This is something. Is this the crypt you were talking about?
No, no. You'll see.
Okay,
it's large. This is something that we did that you may like, or you may think is real big cheaty, and I don't know where you're gonna stand. This is something that we did called the mining guild, the miners guild, and any kingdom can have it. And there's some rules. If you look at the beacon, it's very expensive.
Yep.
So the beacon has to be like this. It has to be hung down, has to be suspended down. We just made up arbitrary rules. There has to be a guardian underneath it.
Okay.
So it's hard to do, but if you come up here and push that button right there, and I'm gonna move away so I'm not too close, then you're gonna give yourself an hour of haste 3.
Ah, okay.
And our thinking was, if you do all this, and there has to be lava, it was a whole bunch of rules that we do. Then you deserve an hour of haste. And so instead of having to move beacons or get 5 beacons to cover a certain radius that you're digging, because we do big digs here, really big digs.
Yep.
Then you can just build this once, and it is terrible, but you build it once, and then you get an hour,
Yep.
So that's one of the sort of vanilla plus or survival plus enhancements that we do. And we all sort of talk about it and come up with a good time, like, a good trade in amount of materials that it takes to get this and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in favor of stuff like this. Like, I think as long as you find a way to balance it that's fair, like, I think it's totally okay. As long as you're not just like, I'm gonna trade a stick for, creative mode for an hour or so. I think as long as you find a way to balance it. And to do it in a way that's like interesting in and of itself, like, I think it's totally cool. I love this build though, like the big chains and the winch up here that kind of like lowers it, and like all this whole thing is just like super cool to look at as well.
Well, thank you. That's I started this build, and speaking of running out of time, I kind of hit I was like, crap, guys, I'm not going to finish this in time. Anyone wants to jump up? And one of our newest members, SoothingFilly, said, I'll do it. Sure. So SoothingFilly has been working a ton on this, adding the lava fall and the stuff over here. So big credit to SoothingFilly. I think Juxey had a hand in doing some of this stuff as well. So
yeah,
I'm probably missing people. I'm trying my very best to give credit to everybody, but this part is really cool over here. I really like this part. We decided that we wanted like sort of a medieval Frost downtown district.
Well, tell you what, speaking of running out of time, I think we're out of time for this particular episode. So I think I'm going to call this one here, but we'll pick this up with the next one, and we'll just keep going until we've seen the stuff that there is to see. So I'm going to wrap this one up here, guys. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Check out the description. Read the description. Please read the description and go, like, check out the Realm of Vasten and the texture pack and the people involved and the previous tour videos and all that kind of stuff. If I get a comment that says, how do I get the texture pack? And it's in the description, I'm guaranteed to get those comments, but you know what I mean? Like, please, folks, read the description, check out the Realm of Vasten. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check those out. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.